We all saw this coming, right? We all knew it was going to be a Bernie backstab. Sanders endorses Biden. Their staffs have, in recent days, met to discuss establishing task forces to bridge gaps between party factions. Bernie Sanders endorsed Joe Biden on Monday during a surprise appearance on the former vice president's live cast. Oh yeah, political candidates are streaming nowadays. It's kind of weird to think about. What's also funny to think about is that Biden gets approximately triple my views whenever I stream on SFO. Yeah, I'm not a former VP. I'm not running for any kind of office. I'm literally just some loser on YouTube. I should not be getting anywhere close to Biden's numbers. I should not have been on the streams of larger YouTubers that completely dwarfed Biden's numbers. Meanwhile, whenever Trump streams his daily coronavirus updates, he gets around 6 figures. I guess we know where the actual interest is there. Today, I'm asking all Americans, I'm asking every Democrat, I'm asking every independent, I'm asking a lot of Republicans, not every Republican obviously, to come together in this campaign to support your candidacy, which I endorse, to make sure that we defeat somebody who I believe is the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country, Sanders told Biden. Are you sure that Trump is the most dangerous president? I mean, he's not the president that launched the nukes at Japan. He's not the president that presided over Korea or Vietnam, or either of the Gulf Wars. Overall, Trump seems to be presiding over less death than, say, George Bush. And if this really was about Democratic partisanship, just hating on Republicans, surely you'd hate Bush more than Trump. This strange-looking page is the Google cache of a tweet from Amy Siskind. It's cached because I think she deleted it very quickly as soon as she realized just how much of a terrible backlash she was getting. But check this out. Imagine if George Bush had told New York City, you're on your own. These are our supplies after the planes hit the Twin Towers. This is what's happening now in every state. It might be a little bit hard to figure out what particular position this person is taking. At first glance, it sounds like an anti-Trumper Republican. But no, it's actually a Biden fan saying this. The Democrats have gone so insane that they're actually endorsing George Bush. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I recall the George Bush era. I think this is like the 4th video where I've told this story now, Jesus. But I recall the George Bush era, where the Democrats' opposition to the war in Iraq was actually morally justified. They had the moral high ground in that conversation. Bush and the other neocons of the GOP, they basically all wanted to go play cowboy in the Middle East. And it was that monumental blunder, costing hundreds of thousands of lives, that basically set the Democrats up to win hard in 2008. But it's like everybody on the left has kind of forgotten that now. Maybe it's because neolibs like Obama, Hillary, and Biden have more in common with George Bush-style neocons than they all want to admit. But Bernie's gone, and we all knew this would happen. I am not a fan of Bernie, but I do recognize that he's basically the head of the populist wing of the Democratic Party at this point. Biden represents the return to Obama-era normalcy, the neolib, the institutional Democrat. Bernie, even though I think a lot of his policies are just factually, in reality, incorrect, they probably wouldn't work if actually implemented, he is, at least, the left's populist candidate. And you know what? Back in 2016, I actually kind of liked Bernie. I disagree with him now more than I disagreed with him then. But if I had to choose between Bernie and Hillary, I definitely would have chosen Bernie. Which is why it was a massive disappointment to me when Bernie cucked out and endorsed Hillary. And here he is doing the same thing to Biden. We're gonna take on the establishment. And then when I lose, I'm going to endorse the establishment. No refunds. Of course, Bernie's campaign website is still up. Donate button's still here. Yeah, you can still donate. If you guys ever thought this was about anything other than paying for Bernie Sanders' 4th house, well, I've got a house you can buy for me, too. I have lost pretty much all respect that I had for Bernie Sanders, because it happened again. He was screwed in 2016, and rather than raining down righteous fury on the DNC and destroying it, which he could have done, and then maybe raising up some kind of new political platform in, say, 2020, he cucked out. He did the same thing here. If Bernie had a spine, he could say, no, fuck you. I will run as an independent. I will split the Democrat vote so hard that Trump wins with like a supermajority. And I will keep doing this until the DNC smartens the fuck up. It would be massive short-term loss and long-term gain, and that would be the most viable path long-term for Bernie to impose whatever politics he wants on the nation. But maybe it's not about that. Maybe he really does just want to pay off his 4th house. Or maybe he wants to control the DNC, not destroy it. Maybe he legitimately thinks that Trump is so bad that the nation cannot survive 4 years of him, which is, by the way, what he believed in 2016, and here we are in 2020, America's not doing that bad. But listen, any Sanders fans out there, I want you to compare him with Trump on this issue. And just think about it for a minute. If, back in 2016, Trump was in striking distance of reaching the nomination, but the GOP pulled some shady shit and just handed it to Jeb Bush, if that happened, do you think Trump would endorse Jeb? Do you think Trump would come out and give a full-throated blowjob apology to the people that stabbed him in the back? Well, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't. And I'm pretty sure that's also why he won in 2016. And I'm pretty sure that's why he's going to win in 2020. In fact, if Bernie were the nominee, I still don't think he'd be able to beat Trump. Bernie talks a lot about standing up to the establishment. But to actually do that, you have to stand up to them when it is politically inconvenient to do so. When there's no money in it. When there's not even any chance of a larger victory, at least in the short term. But at the 11th hour, Bernie always backs down. This cartoon's been floating around for a little while now. It contrasts the difference between Biden and Bernie. And you can really tell the political persuasion of the people who comment on this cartoon. The ones who think that it makes Bernie look good are the ones who fundamentally value a revolution. And to be honest, they're also probably street punks who would spray graffiti, but nonetheless. They feel like they're political outsiders, that they have no space within regular discourse, so they have to resort to vandalizing things. They fundamentally want real change in the political system. They think this cartoon makes Bernie look good because Bernie's the rebel. Meanwhile, Biden is the man. The guy who's stopping the revolution, who's returning things to normal. Meanwhile, when Biden supporters view this cartoon, they view it as Biden doing a responsible job, cleaning up the mess left behind by some kids, stamping out radicalism within his own party, doing legitimate blue-collar work, rather than simply making a mess of the place. They'll view Biden here as somebody who's doing hard work, while Bernie simply ineffectually complains. At the end of the day, though, I reject both of these points of view. To me, the real winner of this election will be the person who built the wall that they're both working on.